Good evening, class. So this time we'll be discussing about compensation income under Chapter 10. Okay, so let's move on to our next slide. Okay, so when we say compensation income, so this involves an employer and employee relationship. So sa employer, so yun yung any person for whom an individual performs any service of whatever nature as employee of such person. Okay, so sabi dito, an employer is the person who has control over the payment of the employee remuneration. However, if such person is a non-resident, not engaged in trade or business, or ENRA Net B, the employer is deemed the person paying remuneration in their behalf. Okay? So, take note of that. So, after employer, so related sa employer-employee relationship naman is si employee. So, sino ba si employee? So, si employee, so it is an individual or any individual who is a recipient of wages. This includes officer, employee, or elected official of the government of the Philippines or any political subdivisions, agency, or instrumentality thereof. So the term also includes an officer of a corporation. Okay, so yun yung employee naman natin. So under employer-employee relationship, so meron siyang elements, no? So these are the four elements of which masasabi mo talaga merong employer-employee relationship under case law. So first, there is a selection and engagement of employee. So sabi dito, merong screening process bago ma-hire si employee. So yun yung number one. Number two, payment of wages. So si employer, usually, syempre, siya yung nagpapasahod. Siya yung nag-fix and nagko-control ng payment of wages to the employee. Pangatlo, power of dismissal. So si employer, meron siyang power para i-terminate si employee when incurring heavy losses or other reasonable basis kung ano pa mang dahilan, no? And then lastly, power of control. Si employer daw ay may power na kontrolin si employee on the means and methods by which the work is accomplished. Okay? So, sabi dito, an arrangement which do not manifest the four elements like this is not an employer relationship, but pwede siyang independent contract for the provision of services. So, example nung mga hindi considered as employee kasi hindi na-meet tong apat na to, kasi mga consultant. Okay? Sa example pa ng directors without management function. And then lastly, example ng mga talents or artists ng TV shows or radio broadcast. In effect, most likely, hindi sila wala silang power to control or to dismiss that talents. Kumbaga parang contract lang talaga yung meron. Walang employee-employer relationship. Sabi dito, the income or fees of the said examples na hindi considered as employees are not compensation income since wala ngang employer-employee relationship, but merely a business or a professional income. Okay, so take note of that, class. So next tayo. So under pa rin ng compensation income. So sabi dito, si employees daw, as to function, may three types siya. Okay? We have managerial employees, supervisory employees, and then rank and file employees. So pag managerial employees, so these are the employees that lay down or execute managerial policies, etc. So ito yung, in effect sila yung para mga officers or yung mga managers ng certain company. So next, supervisory employees. So ito next to managerial to, no? Next below the managerial. So sa supervisory employees, so they are the ones who recommend managerial functions but still requires independent judgment. Okay, so next to sila, managerial. And then lastly, rank and file employees. So pag rank and file employees, these are the employees that neither holds a managerial or supervisory function. Okay, so in effect, pag hindi ka managerial, hindi ka supervisory, dun ka babagsak, parang general na lahat, dun sa rank and file employees. So take note of that, class, ah. So next naman natin, so si employees daw is na ka-classify din sila as to taxability. So pag as to taxability na, yung pinag-uusapan natin, nahahati naman sila sa dalawa. Minimum wage earners tsaka regular employees. So pag minimum wage earners, ibig sabihin, ito yung employees na exempt sila sa income tax on their compensation kasi sila po ay within the statutory minimum wage or minimum na wage na nakalagay or fixed sa regional tripartite Wage and Productivity Board of DOLE, or Department of Labor and Employment. Or 5,000 pesos per month or 60,000 pesos per year, whichever is higher. So, yan daw yung mga minimum wage earner. Yan daw yung definition nila. Yung rate nila is within the board's wage board set by DOLE, or 5,000 per month or 60,000 per year, whichever is higher. Okay? And then regular employees naman, so ito yung employees na subject sa progressive income tax. So mamaya makikita natin yung updated na compensation table and withholding tax compensation table as per effective ng January 1, 2023. No? So mamaya makikita natin yun. So yan, may two types of employees as the taxability, the minimum wage, and then the regular employees. Okay? Okay, so next tayo. So since na-mention na nga natin as the taxability, no, we have minimum wage and regular employees. So when it comes to compensation income, so ang pinaka-major na concern natin dan is ano ba yung taxable, ano ba yung hindi. Okay? So paano ba makakompute si gross compensation income? So si gross compensation income, ito kasi ay these are the income generally including all remunerations received under an employer-employee relationship. Kung sinabing gross compensation, megus-megus na yan. Lahat ng na-receive ng employee under employee-employee relationship. So lahat ng na-receive nila. Okay? Okay, lahat ng remuneration or salaries, etc. na na-receive nila. Okay? So under gross compensation income, so, syempre, yun kasi yung natin, base natin, gross, nandun na lahat. So, next mong concern is meron bang part nun na non-taxable? So, next mong concern, ano ba yung mga non-taxable na nakasama dun sa gross compensation income? Kasi, we need to deduct it para ma-compute kung magkano ba yung taxable talaga na subject dun sa progressive income tax rates natin. Okay? So, sa non-taxable compensation income, so ito naman ay nahahati ko sa dalawa. So, yung non-taxable compensation natin is nahahati sa dalawa. So, yung una, mandatory deductions, which I already discussed in Chapter 8. So, ano po ba yung mga mandatory deductions? Ayan yung employees contribution or mandatory contribution like SSS, PhilHealth, Benefits, GSIS, Pag-ibig or HDMF, and Union Dues. Yun discuss natin last time. So, yun yung mga mandatory. So, ibig sabihin, kapag meron kang gross compensation income, deduct mo dun yung mandatory contributions ni employee kasi non-taxable yun to compete for the taxable compensation income. So, yun yung first under non-taxable, the mandatory deduction. So, after that, we have letter B, which is exempt benefits. So, dalawa lang yun. Pag may gross compensation ka, babawas mo ng taxable, si non-taxable, nahati lang sa dalawa. Si exempt benefit, tsaka si mandatory contribution. So, si exempt benefits, ito yung medyo malawak kasi may apat siyang branch, yung exempt benefit natin. So, generally, no, apat yon. So, una, ito yung mga benefits na excluded and or exempted under National Internal Revenue Code and special laws. So, mamaya discuss natin in detail yan. Yun yung una. And then yung pangalawa, wait lang ah. So, ang pangalawa natin, wait lang, wala. No, pangalawa natin ay, wait. So, pangalawa natin under, ano pa rin, no, exempt benefit. Mga benefits naman na in-exempt under treaty or international agreements. Ito yung mga nakalagay sa international treaty or agreements ni Philippines with other countries. And then yung pangatlo is mga benefits required by the nature of or necessary to the trade, business, or conduct of profession of the employer. So, ito naman yung mga benefits na parang kailangan talaga siyang ma-receive ni employee kasi required siya dun sa nature ng business. Kumbaga kaya na-receive ni employee yun kasi kailangan niya yun in rendering the service. Okay? And then lastly, sa part ng exempt benefit is yung mga benefits na for convenience at advantage ni employer. Okay? So yun yung, in effect, parang yung 3 at 4 is related siya na yung benefits na na-receive ni empleyado is kailangan ni employee para ma-render niya yung service niya kay employer, or yung certain benefit na yun is in advantage ng employer. So, yun yung pangatlo pang-apat natin. Okay, so balikan natin, no, yung na-mention natin. So, nahati na natin yung apat, no, na exempt benefit. So, doon muna tayo sa una, sa exempt benefit, which is yung benefit excluded and or exempted under NIRC and special laws. Okay? So, first, daan, remunerations received as incident of employment. So, ito na-discuss na natin sa chapter 4 ito. Example nito, yung mga benefits from United States Veterans Administration, mga benefits from SSS, mga benefits from GSIS, yung sa COVID-19 benefits natin, yung tatlong na-mention natin before, mga exempt na termination benefits, exempt retirement benefits. So, yan yun, yung number 1. Remunerations received as incidents of employment na na-discuss natin sa chapter 8. Yung mga gratuities, remuneration, etc. Okay? At I think letter F yan yung na-discuss natin sa chapter 8. Okay? So, after remuneration, so next natin under benefits excluded, under NRC and special laws, is what we call de minimis benefits. So, ano po ba si de minimis benefits? So, these are the facilities or privileges, entertainment man yun, medical, or discounts of relatively small or in effect parang petty value furnished or binibigay ni employer merely para ma-promote yung health, goodwill, efficiency ni employee. Okay? So, in effect, ito yung mga petty fringe benefits or benefits ni employee na exempt from income tax. So, pag de minimis benefits, exempt from income tax yun. So, moving forward, ma'am, ano po ba yung de minimis benefits? O ano ba yung mga nandiyan? Ano ba yung kasama dyan? Okay, so, inano ko na lang siya, no, sinimplify ko na lang. So, hinati ko siya sa tatlo. Kasi, meron dan sa the minimis benefits natin is per month, yung threshold. Meron din per year, yung threshold. And then, meron namang other limits. Okay? So, under other limits, so, apat yan, no? One, two, 3, and 4. So, under other limits, so, first, daan na masasabi natin na de minimis. Wait lang ah. Okay. So, si de minimis benefits kasi, restricted under Revenue Regulation number 5, year 2011, and Revenue Regulations 11, year 2018. So, pag sinabing de minimis, dito lang limited yon. So, pag sinabing de minimis, under the other limits na sinimplify natin, no? So, ito daw yung mga monetize or pinera na hindi pa nagagamit na vacation leave. Take note, vacation leave lang of private employees less than or equal to 10 days per year. Okay? So, ibig sabihin daw pala, kapag may natanggap si employee na pinera na unused vacation leave credits niya, so dapat si employee private siya ha. So pag private employee may na-receive kang pinera na vacation leave credits na less than or equal to 10 days per year, so yun daw ay de minimis benefit, in effect exempt siya sa income tax. Ma'am, paano pag naging 11 days? So pag 11 days na, yung excess na 1 day, magiging taxable na po yun. Kasi pag de minimis, ito lang yung limit niya talaga. Up to gantong limit lang siya exempt. Okay, so yun yung una. Pangalawa, monetize unused VL, vacation leave and sick leave credits paid to government employees. So kapag government employees ka, kahit ilan pa yung pinera na unused vacation leave or sick leave, yun daw ay exempt from income tax. Okay, so pag government pala, walang limit ang VLSL na exempt. Unlike sa ano natin sa private na up to 10 days lang and then vacation leave lang na pag pinera, yun yung exempt. Okay? So, yan yan. So, under other limits then, pangatlo is daily meal allowance for overtime work and night or graveyard shift less than or equal to 25% of the basic minimum wage. Okay? Sabi dito, ayan, yung isa pa sa other limit natin, ayan, kapag meron daw 25, ayan, so daily meal allowance for overtime work and night or graveyard shift not exceeding 25% of the basic minimum wage on a per region basis. Okay, so yun daw. So pag less than or equal to 25% of the basic minimum wage, yung daily meal allowance for OT and night or graveyard shift, exempt yun. So any amount excess of that will be subject to tax. Okay? And then lastly, under other limits, so sabi dyan, terminal leave pay or commutation of unused leave credits due to involuntary separation if less than or equal to 10 days, exempt yun. Okay, so yun. Yun yung kailangan tandaan. So, ayun yung sa other limits natin. Okay? So, next naman natin, amount per month. So, ito naman ay threshold na amount per month. So, kapag meron daw na-receive na medical cash allowance, two dependents, pag sinabing dependents, ito yung, kuwari, ikaw yung employee ka, meron kang in-apply na dependent, kuwari si mama mo, at si kapatid mo. So, sabi doon, yung medical cash allowance mo daw, two dependents mo, kapag, sabi dito, less than or equal to 1.5 per employee per SEM, or if less than or equal to 250 per month, will be exempt to tax. Okay? So, yun siya. Another one under amount threshold per month is laundry allowance. So, kapag less than or equal to 300 per month, yung laundry allowance mo, exempt yun. Kasi classified siya as de minimis benefit. Non-taxable de minimis benefit. Then, pangatlo, rice subsidy. So, si rice subsidy, kapag less than or equal to 2,000 pesos per month, siya, exempt yun. Okay, any amount in excess of that will be taxable. So, ang ginawa ko na lang dito, kinlassify natin into 3 siya. And then, ang ginawa ko na lang sa amount is ascending siya para kita natin yung pagkakasunod-sunod, no? Okay? So, under naman sa amount per year o amount threshold per year, so yan. So, first natin, yan, Christmas and major anniversary celebration gifts. If less than or equal to 5,000, sorry. So, if less than or equal to 5,000, so ang amount per year is exempt siya. Take note ha, Christmas and major anniversary celebration. So, in total na yan. Okay? So, pag nag-exceed sa 5,000 yung binigay sa'yo, kuwari, Christmas, 5,000, major anniversary celebration, 5,000, 10,000 na yun. In effect, yung 5,000 doon is, ano na siya, taxable. Okay? Verify natin, wait. Christmas, wait. Okay. Per annum nga. Okay. Per annum. So, per annual, 5,000 per employee. So, amount per year pa din tayo. So, kapag meron ka daw yung natanggap na uniform and clothing allowance, less than or equal to 6,000, exempt yun. Any amount excess to that, subject to tax. Actual medical assistance kay employee. So, pag less than or equal to 10,000, exempt yun. Any excess of that, taxable. Fourth, Employee Achievement Award. Take note class, other than cash. Okay? So, kapag merong Employee Achievement Award na hindi cash, exempt po yun sa tax as de minimis benefits if less than or equal to 10,000. So, kapag cash yan, kahit less than 10,000 pa yan, that would be taxable. Kasi limited tong threshold na to sa other than cash. Okay? And the next, benefits by virtue of CBA. So, pag CBA, sabihin collective bargaining agreement. So, pag benefits, naka-receive ng benefits by virtue ng CBA na less than or equal to 10,000 pesos, exempt din yun. Okay? Pero any excess, again, taxable. Okay? So, since na-discuss na natin, no, so yun yung mga threshold natin under de minimis. So, super importante yan. So, kailangan natin yung tandaan. Okay? So, under taxable, ano ba yung mga taxable de minimis benefits? Okay? So, yung mga taxable de minimis benefits, so any amount na in excess dito sa diniscuss natin na threshold, taxable po yun. Okay? And then, ano pa ba yung taxable? Mga other benefits received of relatively small value not included in this list. So, yung wala sa list na to, na na-receive na benefit, okay? So, ibig sabihin, possible, taxable din yun as de minimis benefits. Okay? Okay. So, since we are already talking about the taxable de minimis benefit, so meron kasi siyang different, any amount in excess of this threshold, may different siyang treatment if depending kung anong type ng employee ka. So, kanina meron tayong na-discuss na uh, types of employees as to function. We have managerial, supervisory, and rank and file. So, uh, being reminded of the definition of that. So, sabi dito, ang treatment sa taxable de minimis benefits, if rank and file employee ka, is other compensation income siya na under sa 13th month pay and other benefits. Okay? So, yun daw siya. Yung taxable de minimis mo, papasok siya as other compensation under 13th month pay and other benefits. Yun ay kung rank and file ka. So, kapag ikaw naman daw ay managerial and supervisory employees, so siya naman ay hindi magiging other compensation income under 13th month. Siya po ay magiging fringe benefit subject to fringe benefit tax. Okay? Pag managerial and supervisory. So, kapag naisama mo na siya sa fringe benefit subject to FBT, so dapat wala na din siya sa taxable compensation income mo. Kasi in effect, subject na siya sa, kasi yung FBT, final tax yan. Okay? So, pag subject na siya sa FBT, dapat di mo na siya subject sa progressive income tax rate because that would be double taxation. Okay? So, we have here example, no, sa page 335 to 337. Pero I think page 335 example will suffice. So, punta tayo sa determination of excess de minimis benefit. So, illustration number 1, no? So, si Alexandre Deria, private employee daw siya. So, take note, kailangan malaman mo kung anong type ng employee kasi may different treatment tayo dun sa ibang limits. Okay? So, si Alexander Deria daw ay private employee who is paid a 600 daily rate. Okay? Receives the following benefits during the year 2023. Okay? So, first tayo, sabi dyan, monetized unused vacation leave credits 9 days. Okay? So, di ba sabi kanina, sa ano natin, unang-una kanina, kapag mayroong vacation leave credits, and then less than or equal to 10 days per year, so pasok yun sa non-taxable de minimis. So, since 9 days lang to, so ibig sabihin, hindi to taxable. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, ito ay non-taxable na de minimis. So, de minimis siya. So, next tayo, monetize unused sick leave credit. Since private employee siya, VL lang yung merong limit up para malaman yung exempt sa de minimis. So, since ito ay sick leave na, so ito ay taxable. So, taxable yung 5,400 natin na 9 days times 600. Okay? Next, medical assistance. So, na-discuss natin sa amount per year. Actual medical assistance is subject to limit of less than or equal to 10,000. So, since medical assistance, 7,000 dito. So, ibig sabihin buong 7,000 siya po ay within the limit and hindi siya taxable benefit. Okay? So, next tayo, rice subsidy. So, sabi si rice subsidy, 2,500 per month. So, ang limit niya sa atin dito, 2,000 per month. So, sabihin, 500 per month. Yung excess niya, 500 times 12. So, that would be 6,000. So, yung 6,000 na yun, excess sa limit natin, papasok siya as taxable de minimis benefits. Okay? Next, clothing allowance. Si clothing allowance, ang total ay 9,000 daw na gas ang binigay na clothing allowance. Pero sa atin kasi dito, 6,000 lang daw dapat per year. So, since lumagpas siya ng 3,000, so si 3,000 na yun daw ay taxable de minimis. Next, laundry allowance. So, meron tayong limit dito, 300 per month. Sabi dito si laundry allowance daw, 6,000 for the whole year. So, 6,000 divided by, 6,000 siya. So, ang limit ay 300 per month. So, 300 times 12. So, ibig sabihin, ang limit per year, 2,400. And since 6,000 yung binigay, so in excess of that, which is, sorry, 300 times 12, that would be 3,600 pala, no? So, ang excess natin ay 2,400. So, yung 2,400 na yun, siya ay magiging taxable de minimis benefit. So, if you total the computation, so 16,800 would be the taxable de minimis benefits since siya ay, wala naman sinabing managerial siya, no? Private employee lang siya. So, assume natin na rank and file siya. So, papasok to ngayon sa other benefits. Okay? Hindi siya papasok sa fringe kasi nga siya ay rank and file. Okay? So, nakdawan na natin yung illustration 2. Okay, so, proceed na tayo. So, basta yun lang yung kailangan tandaan, yung limits na to. Okay, to know what's taxable and what is not. Okay, so proceed tayo sa, okay. Proceed tayo sa na-mention natin kanina. Wait lang. Okay, proceed na tayo sa third item under benefit is exempted under NIRC or special laws. So, ang third natin is 13th month pay and other benefits not exceeding 90,000 pesos. So, if you compute the 13th month pay and other benefits na papasok as 13th month and other benefits, kapag di siya lumagpas ng 90,000, exempt yun buo. Pero pag nag-exceed siya doon, so any excess of 90,000 will be taxable. So that would be it. So mamaya madidiscuss natin yung composition nun as we move forward sa chapter 10. So last number 4 sa benefits exempted under NRC, which is certain benefits of minimum wage earners. So certain benefits ni minimum wage earners are exempt. So mamaya madidiscuss din natin. So, ano yun eh, HHON, holiday, hazard, overtime, tsaka night differential. So, yun yung mga benefits na most likely is general na exempt siya sa minimum, sa tax rather. Okay? Okay, so that's it for the first item of exempt benefit, which is benefits exempted by NRRC or special law. So, proceed naman tayo sa number 2, which is benefits exempt under treaty or international agreement. Okay? So, sabi dito, so employee benefits of a non-Filipino nationals and or non-permanent residents of the Philippines are exempt. So sabi doon, employee benefits of non-Filipino nationals or non-permanent residents of the Philippines are exempt. So sabi dito, from foreign governments, embassies or diplomatic missions and international organizations in the Philippines are exempt from income tax. So sabi dito, yung employee benefits daw ng isang non-Filipino national and or non-permanent residents of the Philippines from na nanggagaling yung benefit kay foreign government, embassy, diplomatic missions, and international organization. Therefore, exempt sila sa tax. Okay? So, under page 338, no? So, nakalagay dan yung, sabi dyan, Filipino employees of foreign government, international missions, and organizations are taxable as a rule. Kasi di ba na-mention ko kanina, non-Filipino nationals and or non-permanent residents of the Philippines, yung benefits nila na nanggagaling kay foreign government are exempt from income tax. So ito kasing next na scenario kasi is Filipino employees na talaga. So si Filipino employees ng foreign governments, taxable sa rule sila except only to employees of the following organization. Unless yung Filipino employees na yun daw ay under this organization. So it is stated in page 338. We have their 1 to 8, no, United Nations, special agencies of UN, Australian Agency for International Development, Food and Agriculture, Organization, World Health Organization, United Nations Development, International Organization, or International Seabed Authority. So sabi dito, these organizations have exemption provisions that extend even to their Filipino employees. So other aid agencies or international organizations may have tax-free provisions in their articles of agreement for Filipino employees. Okay? So yung na-mention kong 8 kanina, yung mga Filipino employees, kahit Filipino pa yan, kapag under sila ng, na nasa 8, ano na to, organization na to, is still exempt sila sa income tax. Pero, take note, it's not automatic na exempt sila. So, first, they should be applied or apply with BIR's International Tax Affairs Division. Okay? Hindi yun automatic na since Philippine employees ka nang nasa 8 to, exempt ka na. So, required pa din na you will apply with BIR's International Tax Affairs Division. Okay? Okay. So, Sabi dito, so employees. What if employees ka naman ng Philippine embassies or consulate office? So it should be recalled that employees working in Philippine embassies or Philippine consulate office are not considered non-resident kasi nga sa Philippine embassy sila eh. So in effect, para nasa ibang bansa lang yung ano, pero pang Philippines talaga na function. Sabi dito, Philippine consulate offices are not considered non-resident citizens and are therefore subject to Philippine income tax. Okay? So, dun sa mga na-mention natin, ito lang yung tatandaan natin. So, kapag si Filipino citizen, so pag ikaw ay isang Filipino citizen, and then, yung benefits mo nang galing kay foreign embassy, missions, or organization, taxable siya. Kasi Filipino citizen ka eh. So, taxable ka, pero may be exempted if you applied under BAR's ITAD or International Tax Affairs Division and you are you're an employee of the 8 na na-mention kanina. Okay? So, si Filipino citizen, taxable siya kahit foreign. Kasi nga, di ba, ano siya, pag Filipino citizen, ibig sabihin, citizen, resident citizen. So, pag resident citizen ka, ano natin, di ba, global income yung subject to tax sa'yo. Okay? And then next natin, Philippine Embassy or Consular Office. So, kaya siya not applicable kasi usually talaga, yung mga Philippine Embassy, nasa ibang bansa siya. Okay? So, hindi siya dito na nasa Pilipinas yung tao. Okay? Kasi nga, Philippine Embassy, usually talaga nasa ibang bansa yun. Same goes with aliens. Kaya wala yung in the Philippines, wala na NA din siya dito. Okay? So, kapag alien yung taxpayer and then nakaka-receive siya ng income from foreign embassy, so exempt yun. Okay? Next, what if ikaw ay Filipino citizen and then nasa abroad ka? So, kapag ikaw ay Filipino citizen and then nasa abroad ka, and then, sabi dyan, nanggaling daw sa foreign embassy missions or organization, yung, yung benefits mo, so yun daw ay exempt. Okay? Exempt yun. Pag nasa abroad ka. So, in effect, parang non-resident ka, no? So, next natin, so what if sa Philippine Embassy ka naman? So, di ba na-mention kanina, kapag nasa Philippine Embassy ka nagtatrabaho, kahit nasa abroad pa yan, so hindi siya considered as non-resident citizen ka. Kasi in effect, parang nasa Philippine ka pa rin. Philippine Embassy yung pinagkatrabaho mo kahit nasa abroad ka pa yan. Kaya nakalagay dyan, taxable siya. Okay? Kapag Filipino citizen ka, nasa abroad ka, and then nagtatrabaho ka sa Philippine Embassy, taxable ka. So, sa alien naman, kapag alien si taxpayer and then nasa abroad, so foreign embassy, missions, or organization galing yung benefits, exempt yun. Okay, tatandaan nyo lang yung discussion natin ng chapters 1, no? Yung mga rules for situs or taxation natin or taxability. So, next natin, kapag alien ka naman, nasa abroad ka, sa Philippine Embassy ka nagtatrabaho, so exempt din yun. Kasi alien ka nga, nasa abroad ka. Sa Philippine Embassy ka nga lang nagtatrabaho. Okay? So, yun yung kailangan lang natin tandaan. So, in effect pala, ang taxable lang talaga dyan is kapag Filipino citizen ka and then nagtatrabaho ka sa Philippine Embassy, which is in effect nasa abroad. So, taxable ka. And then, kapag Filipino citizen ka din, so, and then nagtatrabaho ka sa foreign embassy, taxable ka din. Okay? Pag nasa Philippines ka, Filipino citizen, and then foreign embassy galing, so taxable yon pero may be exempted. Okay? Itong dalawa lang yung kailangan nating tandaan. In effect, parang lahat, ano na siya exempt na, no? So, yun yung tandaan natin. So, ang same point lang nila is pareha silang Filipino citizen yung taxable. Pero pag nasa Pilipinas ka and then foreign, yung pinanggagalingan, taxable. And then kapag nasa Philippine Embassy ka, kahit nasa abroad ka pa, taxable din. Okay? So, yun yung kailangan natin tandaan. So, number 2. Okay? So, next tayo. So, next tayo, number 3. Ayan. So, benefits required by the nature. Ito yung, pangatlong exempt benefit natin. So, benefits required by the nature of or necessary to the trade, business, or conduct of profession of the employer. So this is based on the necessity of the employer rule or benefits ano ba yung nature nung benefit na yon. So kapag based on the necessity of the employer rules, ibig sabihin, the said benefits benefits the employer more. Okay? So kapag ganun yung scenario, expenses of the employer rather than income of employee siya. Okay? So parang in effect, parang mere advances or replenishment lang siya. Dapat ay expense talaga siya ng employer rather than magre-reflect siya as income ng employee. Kasi nga, again, required siya or necessity, mas nakaka-benefit sa employer kaysa kay employee doon sa benefit na yun. Okay? So, in effect, exempt yung benefit kapag ganun siya, no? Kapag, ano siya, necessity siya or nakaka-benefit pa si employer more kay employee. So, next natin, number 4. So, benefits for the convenience or advantage of the employer. So, para medyo align din siya sa number 3, no? Pero this time naman, this is based on the convenience of the employer rule. So, under this rule, it means that the benefits the employer more and it ensures the smooth operation. So, kung kanina, nabe-benefit yung employer more, ito naman, nabe-benefit yung employer pero most likely, yung sa operation niya, mas smooth yung operation dahil dun sa expense na yun. Okay? So, punta tayo sa page 339. No? So, yan yung mga, dun yung example ng, ano natin, no? Yung mga base sa ano natin. Necessity of the employer rule. Okay? And then yung ano din natin. Yung, wait lang. Sorry for that. Okay. So, if you look into our books, example ng mga ano, kawari, yung mga traveling expenses na kailangan nung sa para makonduct or magawa ni employee yung service niya kay employer. Ano pa? Yung mga reimbursement, yung mga pre-computed on a daily basis na allowances. Yan siya, no? So, required siya dun sa profession or business conducting the trade. Okay? So, yung sa number 4, yung benefits for the convenience or advantage of the employers. Example naman nun, yung mga work-related mobile phone. Kasi di ba, pag minsan may mga work na kailangan mo ng, kumontak, like meron kang clients or etc. that you need communication allowance and like that. So, sabi dito, mga work-related phone, yun, kasama yun doon sa number 4. Example din dan is mga grant of housing privilege to employees working at a distant or remote facilities, even if the dwelling is distance from the facility in compliance to labor safety standards. Example pa dito sa number 4, mga car incentive to employed on-call medical doctors. So, yun, kasama pa rin yun sa exempt benefit kasi in effect na-receive naman ni doctor yung car na incentive na yun para mas magawa niya yung trabaho niya. Tawag lang siya, nakapunta na siya agad. No. So yun yung mga example ng mga benefits exempted dahil for the convenience and advantage ni employer. Okay? So, yun yung mga example natin. Take note class, no? Meron dito. However, if the said expense is unreasonably excessive, making it depart from the nature of a reasonable business expense, such as when it is deliberately granted to include the benefit for the employee, the portion of the expense representing provision or privilege to the employee is in effect considered a taxable fringe benefit. These types of expenses are regarded as hybrid because they are partially business expense and partially employee benefits. So, kapag yung benefits daw, in effect, business expense naman talaga siya. Pero if unreasonable, excessive siya, so, mamaya, kailangan yung kotse nyo, ano talaga, yung pang sports car pa, hindi naman required na ganun yan. So, sabi dito, pag unreasonably excessive yung expense, so pwede siya i-treat as hybrid. May part din na business expense and then may part din na partially employee benefit. Okay, so that's the meaning of that. Okay? So, proceed tayo. So, we already discussed the non-taxable benefits, no? So, let's proceed sa taxable compensation income na. Kasi, di ba, na-compute na natin yung gross, alam na natin kung ano yung non-taxable. So, pag kinumpit mo yung makakumpit mo na yung taxable compensation income. So, in effect, i-breakdown natin ano ba yung mga pwedeng kasama din sa taxable compensation income. Okay? So, first, sabi dyan, first sa list natin na compensation ng taxable compensation income is what we call regular compensation. Pag sinabing regular compensation from the word regular, it is a fixed remuneration or gratuity or given amount to the employee. So, example nito is basic salary. So, yan lagi naman yun, di ba? Fixed yan na meron kang basic salary. Basic salary, na in effect, binibigay siya. So, ano pala, no? Pag sinabing fixed remuneration, parang isa sa main point dito is every payroll period siya binibigay. Okay, dun siya nakadepende. Okay? So, example nga ng basic salary. Next pa dun is mga fixed allowance. So, fixed allowances, ayan, which are fixed in amount and regularly received as part of basic monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, or daily salaries as part of regular compensation. Okay? So this applies even if a portion of the allowance are actually used in the employer's business. So kahit may part pa doon na para sa employer's business, pwede siya makasama sa fixed allowance. Okay? Basta ma-meet niya yung rule na yan. Okay, so as a rule, si fixed allowance daw kasi talaga ay regular compensation as taxable. So meron tayo exception. So kailan nare-render na hindi kasama sa taxable compensation income yung fixed allowance or hindi siya magiging taxable kapag daw on all year. Okay, pag sinabing on all year, first, yung expense daw na yon or fixed allowance na yon ay ordinary and necessary allowances incurred in the pursuit of the employer's trade, business, or profession. So, yun yung una. Next, yung expense daw na yon ay subject to accounting or liquidation. So, yung gastos mo na yon, liliquidate mo pa. And then, lastly, any excess advances or returned to the employer. So, baka in effect, advances pala yung nangyaring allowances na yun, and then kailangan mo siya i-liquidate or may part na ibabalik ka kung di mo nagamit. So, yun yun. So, kapag ganun yung nature, so yung fixed allowances na yun ay maaaring maging exempted sa taxability or sa taxable na compensation. Okay? Okay. Okay, so take note class, may nakalagay dito. So, paid vacation and sick leave allowances. So, sabi dito, the paid absences of an employee applied against his. So, in effect, ito, ginamit niya. Di ba yung kayo sa de minimis natin, unused. So, ito, ginamit niya. Sabi dito, the paid absences of an employee applied against his vacation or sick leave credits, which are normally received as part of the regular salary, is part of the regular compensation. So, yun yung kung umabsent ka, nag-apply ka na ano yun, vacation leave mo yun, payable na vacation leave sa'yo. So, pag ginahit mo ngayon, hindi mo na-earn yung salary mo for 40 days, pero na-earn mo siya through filing of your leave. So, in effect, parang naging part siya ng regular salary mo na, in effect, taxable. Okay? Okay. Okay, so take note of that. So, next tayo. So, may ibanggitin ko na lang din, no? So, we have here what we call non-compensation items. Ito yung mga items na may kita mo talaga na hindi siya considered as compensation income under employer-employee relationship. So, example nito, fees. So, kapag, ano kasi, may mga accountant na binabayaran sila in retainer's fees. So, sabi dito, fees, mga ano to, retainer fees na binabayaran sa contracted consultants, talents, and directors who in effect have no management function in the business. Kumbaga, walang employer-employee relationship. So, ibig sabihin yung certain fees na yon will not contribute as compensation income, but in effect will be a professional income. Okay? So, next naman natin commissions or commission. So, commissions. So, ito mga commission sa non-employees such as independent sales agents or, again, business income to the sales agent. So, hindi siya compensation income. Okay? And then, lastly, tips and gratuities. Yung mga tip na binibigay ko sa, sa mga employees. So, sa our nagsiservice, nagre-render ng service. So sabi dito, tips and gratuities paid directly, binibigay mo direkta kay employee na in effect hindi na account ni employer will not be considered as compensation income kasi nga hindi naman siya na dumaan kay employer eh. Sabi doon walang employer-employee relationship na parang na-alignan niya. Sabi dito, this should be reported as other income in the ITR of the said employee who received the tips or gratuities. Pero again, self-assessing. So, kung hindi niya i-report, wala tayong magagawa. Okay? So, ganun siya. Okay. What if, ma'am, yung compensation daw ay hindi in cash but in kind? So, sabi dito, if the consideration received in exchange of service provided by the employee to the employer is paid in kind. So, ang mangyayaring computation then or valuation will be the fair value of the compensation received. So, sabi dito, example. So, sabi dito, compensation in kind is taxable at the fair value of the consideration received. So, if received in shares, kapag shares yung nabigay, the fair value of the shares at the date of services were provided is used. Okay? So, example natin, page 341. So, the following pertains to an employee in 2024. So, gross salary is 400,000. COLA or cost of living allowance, 36,000. And the likes are given. So, sabi dito, kailangan natin malaman kung magkano ba yung taxable compensation income. So, para ma-compute yun, so again, yun nga, yung gross compensation less non-taxable to compute for the taxable compensation income. So, ang gross salaries mo, 400,000. So, that would be the base, pinakatuktok natin. So, si COLA, cost of living allowance, part kasi yan ng fixed allowances natin. So, si COLA, again, makakasama natin yan as part ng regular compensation income. Next, fixed monthly transpo allowance. So, si fixed monthly transpo allowance, pasok din siya sa fixed allowances natin. So, kasama din siya sa idadagdag mo. So, ngayon, makakompute mo na yung regular compensation income, which is 460,000 pesos. So, ang next naman natin gawin, tanggalin natin yung non-taxable. Dalawa lang yung non-taxable natin, exempt benefit, tsaka mandatory. So, in this case, ang mandatory contribution na i-deduct natin is yung 32,000. Okay? So, mayroon pa ba tayong so, wala na namang sinabi pang ibang non-taxable kasi yung isa pa dito ay withholding na. Okay? So, si withholding kasi, ano lang siya, yun na yung parang advance payment mo sa tax. So, in effect, di naman talaga siya non-taxable na tatanggalin mo sa gross compensation income. So, kaya, binawas lang natin dito, mandatory deduction. So, next tayo, an employee who was terminated in 2024 due to business closure of the employer received the following. So, sabi dito, meron daw siyang unpaid 2024 salaries, 200. Unpaid 2023 salaries, 20. Reimbursement for transpo, 10,000. And then, termination pay, 100,000. So, ang gross compensation income mo, halo-halo pa yung non-taxable sa taxable. So, yung mga na-receive niya, yung salary 200 plus 20 na 2023 salaries. And then, plus 100 na termination pay. Okay, so 320 yung na-receive niya. And then, ang non-taxable doon ay yung termination pay. Kasi in effect, wala siyang merong beyond the employee's control to kasi nagkaroon ng business closure. Kaya siya nawala ng trabaho, kaya siya tinerminate. So in effect, so yun nangyari. So 320 minus 100, so ang taxable compensation income natin, 220. So yung reimbursement ng transpo, hindi po siya income ni employee kasi nga, in effect siya yung gumastos pero binalik din naman sa kanya. Okay? Okay. So, ganun siya. Okay. So much with the regular compensation. So, another part or composition ng taxable compensation income is what we call supplemental compensation. So, kung na regular, ito naman supplemental. So, pag sinabing supplemental compensation, these are additional compensation. Okay? Sabi dito, these are other performance-based pay. Okay? Ito daw ay performance-based pay or remuneration to an employee in addition to sa regular compensation niya, with or without regard to the payroll period. So, yung regular kanina, masasabi mo regular kasi parang naka-relate siya or nakakabit dun sa payroll period. So, ito naman, with or without regard sa payroll period. And then, yun nga, performance-based siya. Okay? So, these are the following na under current tax rules classified as additional compensation. So, pinagsama-sama ko na lang yung ano no. So, sabi din yan, overtime, hazard, holiday, and night differential pay. So, this constitute as additional compensation. Okay? Unless minimum wage, kasi kung minimum wage earner yung nag-earn ng overtime, hazard, holiday, night, so yun yung sinabi kong HHON, so siya ay magiging non-taxable kapag minimum wage earner. Pero since, for example, na hindi siya hindi siya minimum wage, so yung apat na yan po ay makaklasify as supplemental compensation. Kasi performance-based yan. So next tayo, commissions. Commissions, emoluments, and honoraria. So, commissions, emoluments, honoraria. So, yung commission, yun yung mga incentives. Incentive mo kapag para mas galingan mo sa pagbebenta as a sales personnel ng employer mo. Emoluments, any pay in general. While si honoraria naman, additional payments for attending to special tasks or assignments. So, yung mga na-receive mo doon na commission, emolument, honoraria, classified siya as supplemental compensation. Okay? Next, living quarters or meals. So, living quarters or meals, so if an employee receives free living quarters or meals in addition sa normal niyang sahod, so the value of the employee of such living quarters or meals is included in the compensation income. So however, okay, so yun daw siya, no, magiging part siya ng supplemental compensation. However, when the same was furnished to an employee for the convenience, na naman, what if yung living quarters na yun, for the convenience of the employer or out of necessity ng employer's business, the value thereof, again, will be not treated as not compensation income, but a business expense. Again, yung na-discuss natin na exempt benefit kanina, yung number 4 at number 3, necessity of the employer rule, and then yung isa naman natin ay benefit, I think, benefit of the employer rule. Okay? Okay, so after that, living quarters or meal, so we have here gains on exercise of stock options. So, gains on exercise of stock option, sige, tingnan natin yung next. So, under this, so sabi dyan, gains on exercise of stock options. So, meron kasi mga company na para mas ma-motivate nila yung employee nila, they give their employees stock options or options to purchase stocks. Okay? Allowing them to earn additional rewards and the appreciation of the stock price of the company. So, the option will have value when the value of the stock of the employer exceeds the exercise price at the grant date. Tama ba yung ano ko doon? Wait lang. Value of the stock exceeds the exercise price. So, mas malaki si... tama. Greater than. Kapag daw si value ng stock is greater than dun sa exercise price at the grant date nung stocks daw na yun, dun napapasok yung magkakaroon ng value, magkakaroon ng gain. Okay? So, sabi dito, ang options na related dito sa stock option plan is dalawa. Yung isa, equity settled option o equity yung pambabayad. Yung isa naman is cash settled option. So, kapag cash settled option, ibig sabihin, it entitles the employee to receive in cash the excess of the fair value of stocks over the exercise price at the grant date. Okay? And then sa equity naman, entities entitles employees to purchase shares of stocks of the employer at a predetermined exercise price fixed on the grant date. Okay? So kapag in-exercise mo na yung cash settled option or equity settled option as an employee, so ang mangyayari daw doon, upon exercising nung option mo na yon, higher between the book value and fair value daw is magiging pinaka-base mo na babawasan mo nung value ng exercise value nung stock at exercise price. So, any excess ng book value or fair value sa exercise price will be treated as additional compensation income if rank and file yung employee natin. And then, kapag managerial naman or supervisory, mapapasok naman siya as fringe benefit. Okay? Yung gain on stock options. Okay? Okay, so ganun pala, no? So, pag magkakompute ka pala ng gain on stock options, una mong gagawin is, makompare mo yung fair value tsaka book value nung stock. So, ano yung higher sa kanila, yun yung base mo. So, yung higher sa kanila, babawasan mo yung exercise price or exercise amount doon. So, yung gain na makuha mo doon, additional compensation income if rank and file ka. And then, kapag managerial or supervisory ka naman, fringe benefit naman siya papasok. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. So, chapter 12 will be discussing the rules on dealings in other capital assets, no? So, nasa page 344 yan yung i-discuss pa in detail sa chapter 12 natin. Okay? So, yan, pinakita na din yung example ng stock transaction tax and capital capital gains tax. Sorry. So, ganun lang siya. So, next tayo, under pa din ng supplemental compensation is what we call profit sharing or taxable bonus. Okay, ano ba yung meron po dyan, ma'am? So, yung profit sharing, so it is a reward for turning the business to post a profit. So, most likely, binibigyan ng ganito yung benefit yung employee para mag-work hard sila to have a profit instead of loss dun sa company nila. So, in effect, yun nga, magkakaroon ng reward kapag nagkaroon ng profit. So, nakabase dun yung sa profit kung magkano yung mabibigay na benefit dun sa employee. Okay? So, most likely, yun nga, para ma-motivate yung ano natin, yung mga employee. So, under next natin sa supplemental compensation, yun nga yung taxable bonus. So, si bonus naman, ano ba siya? So, sabi dito, it is a supplementary or additional compensation considered de minimis if linked solely to productivity incentive plan. So, yung CBA natin, kapag linked solely doon, under Republic Act 6971, so yung bonus daw na yon ay, in effect, magiging exempt or considered as de minimis. Pero pag hindi naman, so in effect, taxable naman talaga siya. Okay? Okay. So next tayo, ayan. So, di ba, na-discuss na natin kanina yung, ano, yung, wait lang. Na-discuss natin yung, sorry. Yan. Na-discuss natin dun sa first item sa exempt benefit, no? Yung benefits excluded, exempted under NARC. So, yung remunerations na na-discuss sa Chapter 8. The minimis benefits yung may mga threshold. And then, yung pangatlo is yung 13th month pay. Okay, so yun yung 13th month pay. Ito na yung titingnan natin. Tsaka minimum wage moving forward. Okay, so yan yun na, number 3. So, balik tayo dun sa 13th month pay. Okay. So, 13th month pay and other benefits. So, pag 13th month pay and other benefits, nahati yan sa dalawa. 13th month pay and other benefits. Okay? So, sa 13th month pay kasi, depende yung amount nun kung anong type ka ng employee. Okay? So, may two types pa kasi tayong employee na hindi siya as to taxability and as to function, which is, pwedeng ikaw ay government employee, pwede ding ikaw ay private employee. So, kapag ikaw kasi ay government employee. So, ang 13th month mo daw, ang 13th month pay ng isang government employee is Christmas bonus, which is equivalent sa 1 month salary, and then plus 5,000 cash gift. Okay? So, yun daw yung 13th month na, maituturing kapag ikaw ay government employee. So, 13th month mo ay 1 month salary na Christmas bonus plus 5,000 na cash gift. Okay? While kapag ikaw naman ay private employee, so ang tinutukoy lang ng 13th month pay doon ay 1 month salary mo. Okay? Ayun siya. So, proceed tayo, no? So, next tayo. So, doon na tayo sa other benefits. Ano ba yung mga masasabi natin na under siya ng other benefits? So, sa other benefits, we have here, Christmas bonus. So, ano ba yung Christmas bonus? So, sabi dito, Christmas bonus, ayan, Christmas bonus, of government employee is their 13th month pay. So, yung na-mention ko nga kanina. While in private companies, the term Christmas bonus may pertain to the 13th month pay, a separate incentive pay, or to a profit sharing. Okay? So, kapag ikaw daw ay nasa private, so pwede yung Christmas bonus na tinutukoy mo dyan. 13th month pay yon, and then meron pang kasamang separate incentive pay and profit sharing. Okay? So, Christmas bonus of private employees, which is non-performance-based incentive pay, is part of other benefits. So, kapag non-performance-based yung incentive pay na Christmas bonus daw, ay, in effect, will be part of other benefits. So, yun yung sasama natin daan. So, Christmas bonus in the nature of profit sharing should be treated as additional compensation income. So, take note of that class kapag ikaw ay private employee, naka-receive ka ng non-performance-based na incentive pay as Christmas bonus, so other benefits yon. While kapag performance-based naman, or kapag profit sharing naman, so pasok naman yun sa additional compensation income, not as other benefits. Okay? So, kailangan pala malaman yung nature ng Christmas bonus para malaman mo kung other benefits ba siya or papasok siya as additional compensation income. Okay? Kasi kapag additional compensation income, din ay subject dun sa limit na 90,000. Kasi hindi siya papasok as other benefits eh. Na, so, so next tayo, ayan, wait lang. Wait lang ah. Aha. Okay. So, after Christmas bonus, we have here Christmas gifts. So, sabi dito, the Christmas gift of government employees is specifically designated as part of 13th month pay and other benefit. Okay, and then under RR5 2011, it includes Christmas gift in the list of de minimis benefits, but this should be interpreted to apply only to Christmas gifts of private employees. So, ito yung kailangan natin tandaan no, sa next nating slide. Wait lang. Under pa yun to ng Christmas bonus, no? Okay, so under Christmas bonus pa rin to, and then Christmas gift. So kapag ikaw daw, so tandaan nyo lang no, Christmas bonus or Christmas gift kapag government ka or private, most likely 13th month and other benefits yung pasok nun. Unless, ito ay Christmas gift na na-receive ni private employee. So kapag si private employee naka-receive ng Christmas gift, siya po ay papasok as de minimis. Pero subject to limit kanina yung na-discuss natin na I think 5,000, if I'm not mistaken. Page 16. Christmas gift. So, yung Christmas gift natin dito, ito. Ayan, less than or equal to 5,000. So, dun subject siya. De minimis siya subject to that limit. Okay? Yan. So, in effect, parang government ka or private, Christmas bonus mo yan or Christmas gift, 13th month pay yan, and other benefits. Except kung ikaw ay Christmas gift subject to limit ng private employee. Okay? So, under pa din ng ano natin, no? So, before we proceed dito sa other fringe benefits, dito ko pala na-mention, no? So, dito may na-mention dito, cash gift. So, cash gift, these are cash gift other than Christmas or anniversary gift of private employees. Papasok daw yun ng other benefits. Kapag naka-receive ng cash gift other than Christmas or anniversary gift, si private employee, so pasok yun ng other benefits niya under taxable compensation income. Okay? Next, additional compensation allowance or ACA. So, ang ACA naman, nare-receive siya ng government personnel. So, kapag naka-receive ka ng ACA, pasok yun as other benefits mo, 13th month pay and other benefits. Next, letter D. So, under 13th month, other benefits is 14th month pay, 15th month pay, pasok yun sa other benefits. Okay? And then lastly, other fringe benefits of rank and file employee. Bakit po other fringe benefits of rank and file lang? Kasi di ba na-mention natin kanina, other fringe benefits na kay managerial and supervisory will be subject to fringe benefit tax na in effect will render it exempted sa normal or regular income tax. Okay? So, yun siya. So, ano ba yung other fringe benefits? So, yung na-mention ko nga dito kanina. And other fringe benefits employee personal expenses shouldered by the employer. Sabi dan, other fringe benefits includes all other taxable fringe benefits not specifically included in compensation income as regular, supplementary, or 13th month pay and other benefits under current tax rules. So example nun, yan, mga employee personal expenses daw ng employee, pero shoulder ni employer. Ikaw, may naggagastos ka ng, ng personal mong pagkain. So sabi dan, yung mga pag sinolder siya ni employer, pero personal mo expense naman talaga siya in effect. So, papasok siya as other fringe benefit. So, example pa din nito ay, na other fringe benefits is yung taxable de minimis benefits natin na in effect, excess siya sa de minimis and at the same time, wala siya dun sa de minimis list. Okay? So, pag sinabing employee personal expenses. So, example nan, ayan, sabi dito, ito yung mga expenses na even if receipted or nakaresibo kay employer, such as but not limited to ay mga rental of residence, grocery, na may kanina association dues, and the likes. So, kapag binayaran siya ni employer, constitute siya as fringe benefits to the employee. Okay? And then yung taxable de minimis, na-discuss na natin yung kanina, yung may limits, and then yung listahan. So, and then kapag merong lumagpas sa listahan natin ng de minimis or yung threshold, pag lumagpas doon, magiging taxable siya na other benefits kapag rank and file. And then kapag managerial naman, papasok siya as subject to fringe benefit tax. Okay? So, next tayo. Okay. So, we have here example na sa book natin, no? Tax treatment. Tax treatment of 13th month pay and other benefits. So, proceed tayo, no? So, sabi dito, dun tayo sa page 348, illustration 1. So, sabi dito, a government rank and file. So, sinabi na doon, government employee siya and then rank and file, received the following benefits aside from the basic pay in 2023. So, naka-receive daw siya ng Christmas bonus, 70,000 pesos. Again, government ka and then rank and file. So, naka-receive siya ng Christmas bonus na 70,000. So, again, pag sinabi natin Christmas bonus ng government employee, yun daw ay 13th month pay lang. Okay? So, naka-receive daw siya ng Christmas bonus, 70,000 pesos. And then, naka-receive din siya ng cash gift, 5,000. And then, additional compensation allowance, 36, pera allowance, monetized value, VCL, uniform, etc. etc. So, ngayon, alamin natin yung taxable na 13th month pay. So, yung Christmas bonus, taxable ba siya na 13th month pay? So, in effect, kasama siya sa isasama natin na ito-total natin, di ba? Kasi, kasama naman talaga siya ng 13th month pay. Kasi ang Christmas bonus ay 13th month pay ng government employee. So, Christmas bonus natin, 70,000. And then, cash gift, 5,000. Kasama ba? Kasama siya. Kasi di ba na-discuss natin kanina, ang cash gift, other than Christmas or anniversary gifts of employee. So, si 5,000, sama din natin. And then, additional compensation allowance, kasama din, kasi naka-term na nga din. And then, uniform and clothing allowance natin, papasok ba siya as 13th month pay and other benefits? Opo, kapag in excess. So, ang uniform and clothing allowance natin, ang limit ay 6,000. Pero 7,000 yung nandito, kaya 1,000 is papasok siya sa other benefits since rank and file din naman siya. Okay? So, in effect, yung total natin 70 plus 5, 70 plus 5 plus 36 plus 1. So, 112,000 yung taxable. Natin, 13th month pay and other benefits. So, to compute for the taxable, bawas mo lang yung 90,000 na threshold. So, in effect, 22,000 yung taxable natin, 13th month pay and other benefits. So, yung kanina nating monetized value of vacation leave and sick leave, 18 days, kahit 18 days yun, nakatotal na lahat-lahat siya dito as de minimis. Kaya, hindi siya sinama. So, yung 9,000 na monetized value, basically, di natin sinama kasi de minimis yun. Hindi siya papasok sa 13th month pay. Okay? And other benefits rather. Okay, so yung Christmas gift, 5,000. Since binigay siya sa government employee under NIRC, part siya ng 13th month and other benefits. Kaya natin siya sinama, hindi siya de minimis. Okay? Okay, so I think that's it. So, tingnan nyo na lang yung other illustrations natin dan. So, para mas ma-practice. Okay. So, proceed tayo sa... So, sa libro din natin, no, pinakita din dan yung itsura ng presentation sa gross income tax return. So, kailangan mong pag-represent mo siya, yung discuss natin kanina, yung meron kang gross, kunin mo na yung gross compensation income as base mo sa taas, and then bawas mo yung non-taxable compensation na nahati sa dalawa. Yung mandatory exempt deduction and then exempt benefit. So after you deduct that, you will get the taxable compensation income. So yun lang naman yun. Okay? So pag tiningnan nyo sa forwarding sa ating libro, so page 353, may makikita na kayo dang computation, kino-compute na yung income tax due. I think hindi naman siya need sa ano natin pa. Kasi, di ba, focus pa lang tayo sa inclusion and exclusion sa gross income. So, hindi pa tayo yung more on computation ng tax due. So, pero discuss na lang din natin. So, ayan. So, ito na yung updated kasi, no, na as of, effective tong table na to as of January 1, 2023. So, ito yung updated natin. So, I think you don't need to memorize this. I think this should be given in the exam, no? So, ganun yan. So, kapag na-compute mo na yung taxable compensation income, kung magkano man yon, for example, sa page 353, so, ang taxable income daw ay 603,200. So, you will look saan ba yung pumasok na coverage yun or range. So, sabi dito 603, 200. So, nasa pagitan siya nito, 400 to 800. So, yun daw, no? So, paano makakompute yung income tax due? So, 22,500 daw fixed plus 20% ng sasobra sa 400,000. So, since 603, 2,200 yung taxable income, minus mo yung 400, so, sabihin, 203,200 yung excess na i-multiply mo sa 20%. Pag na-compute mo na yun, dagdag mo na yung 22,500. So, in effect, ang income tax due, 63,140. Okay? So, yun lang siya. Okay, so, proceed tayo sa, ayan, sa page 355. So, baka bago sa paningin natin, no? So, meron din the fringe benefit tax on managerial or supervisory employees. Di ba na-mention ko kanina, na kapag ikaw ay managerial and supervisory employee, and then naka-receive ka ng benefit, so subject siya sa FBT. So pag mag-compute ka kasi ng FBT, pasaladahan na lang din natin. So ang mangyayari doon, kung magkano yung benefit mo, divide mo siya ng gross up rate. So usually 65% yon and then 35% yung tax. So 42,200 yung taxable fringe. So divide mo siya sa 65% kasi in effect, as if yung taxable fringe benefit mo, net na yon. Kaya, kailangan mo siya i-divide na 65% para makuha yung gross up. So, pag nakuha mo na yung gross up, so times mo siya dun sa complementary rate niya. Di ba 65 yung gross up rate? So, 35 pa yung remaining to be 100. So, yung gross up, times mo lang sa tax rate na 35. Makuha mo na yung fringe benefit tax. Okay, so yun lang yun. Pero I think, di pa naman siya masyado kailangan sa midterm since this will be computation na ng tax. Okay? So, next na tayo. I think we're close to the end. So, next naman natin is taxability ng minimum wage earner. So, taxability of minimum wage earner. Let's see, ilang minutes na ako. Nakita ba yun? Hindi ko alam kung ganun na. Tagal-tagal. The taxability of minimum wage earner. So, di ba na-mention ko kanina, si minimum wage earners, these are the the earners of which their statutory minimum wage is fixed by the tripartite wage board, okay, or wages and productivity board. So, sabi dan, kapag ikaw ay minimum wage earner, exempt ka from income tax on the following. So, first on the list is yung basic minimum wage mo since basic minimum wage ka nga, so exempt siya sa income tax. And then, yung other benefits pa na limited sa HHON will also be exempt from income tax. So, HHON, yun yung holiday pay, hazard pay, overtime pay, and night shift differential pay. Okay, so yun yung mga other benefits ng minimum wage earner na exempt din sa income tax. Okay, so pag tumingin ka dito sa So, sabi dito, since exempt from income tax daw si minimum wage earner, so dapat daw, yung exempt din na sa income tax na yun, will also be not subject to withholding tax on compensation. Okay? So, first example tayo, no? So, si Ms. Guevara, a minimum wage earner employed by CSO company derive the following benefits during the year. So, meron siyang basic minimum wage, 124,000. So, since minimum wage earner siya, exempt yun. 13th month pay, 11,000. Overtime pay, exempt din yun, 80,000. Night shift differential, so HHON nga, so exempt. Hazard pay, holiday pay, exempt din. Total, 275. And then, merong contribution na 5,000. So, ang gross income niya dito, yung 275, di ba? Yung total nung lahat-lahat na yon, yung basic to holiday. So, 275 yung gross niya. So, minus may mandatory deduction na, or contribution na 5,000. Kasi di ba non-taxable yun? And then, tanggalin din natin yung exempt benefit na in which ang value niya is yung 124 plus 11, 124 Ayan, so 124 plus 11 plus 80 plus 30 plus 15 plus 15 and then minus yung mandatory contribution. So in effect, 270 yung exempt benefit niya. So in effect, 0 yung taxable compensation income niya. Okay? So take note of this class. Sabi dito, MWEs or minimum wage earner are still exempt from income tax on the foregoing exempt benefit even if they are earning other taxable items of compensation income or other income from concurrent employers, trade, business, or practice of a profession. Okay, so kahit since minimum wage earner ka, kahit meron ka pang ibang compensation, exempt ka pa rin dun sa certain na minimum wage earner ka. Okay? Yan lang siya kasi per ano siya per kumbaga in effect per salary ganun. So sabi dito, yan, minimum wage earner is subject to tax only to the extent of income other than the aforementioned exempt benefit. Okay? So again, dun papatak din tayo sa mention natin na may threshold tayo na 250,000. So kapag hindi lumagpas ng 250,000 yung salary mo for the year, so dapat wala kang payable na income tax. Okay? Okay, so again, basahin na lang din natin dyan yung mga ano natin, no? Example natin. Okay. So what if ma'am, minimum wage earner ka at a certain point and then at a certain point hindi na. Or hindi ka minimum wage earner and then at a certain point minimum wage earner ka na. So kapag ganon, kapag tingnan natin yung book natin is up to the point na hindi ka minimum wage earner, dapat i-compute mo na hindi ka minimum wage earner. And then kapag naging minimum wage earner ka na, moving forward from that point na naging minimum wage earner ka, dun ka magko-compute naman na as if minimum wage earner ka na. So yun na at a certain point kung kailan ka talaga naging minimum wage earner, dun pa lang magsa-start yung exception mo. Hindi siya retrospective na kailangan ba bumalik na ganito ganyan. Hindi siya ganun. Okay? Lagi kasi prospective tayo in application of tax modifications or tax rules revisions. Okay? So, sabi din dito, no? Treatment of COLA, yung kayo na na-mention natin, yung cost of living allowance, di ba kayo na kasama yun sa fixed remuneration or fixed allowance. So, sabi kapag minimum wage earner ka. So, sabi dito, under RMC, Revenue Memorandum Circular number 23, series of 2011. So, COLA, cost of living allowance of minimum wage earners, forms part of the new wage rates prescribed to the statutory minimum wage, should be treated as part of the minimum wage and shall not be treated as separate or other benefits. So, kapag may COLA ka, and then under MWE ka daw, siya daw ay part ng minimum wage mo and should not be treated as separate or other benefit. Okay? So, I think that's it. So, next to it, Yan. So, we have here a revised withholding tax table. So, di ba na-mention ko na meron tayong tinatawag na withholding tax on compensation aside from expanded. So, kapag may withholding tax on compensation, ito yung sa kada sahod mo, may ibabawas sa'yo na withholding. Okay? Para sa at the end of the year, kapag need mo na magbayad ng tax, is i-deduct doon yung lahat ng naibayad mo na para hindi ka isang bagsakan nagbabayad. Okay? So, yan. So, ito yung table on which ito yung sinusunod ng mga payroll, nagko-compute ng payroll. Okay? So, kapag daily, weekly, semi-monthly, monthly, so may basis yan dan. Kung ano ba yung range ng compensation mo, and from there, kakampitin mo kung magkano ba yung withholding mo. Parang in effect, same lang din siya yung kanina natin sa withholding tax table sa tax table ng compensation. Yan. So, yun nga lang, mas maliit yung amount dito. Kasi nga, ano pa lang to estimation pa lang, no? So, yan. So, yan yung magiging computation. Kasi nga, di ba, advanced collection ni BAR yung withholding. So, kaya in effect, withhold na sila sa inyo in advance. So, yan yun. Ito yung revised, again, na withholding tax table na nagsimulang mag-effect noong January 1, 2023. Okay? So, itong kapag na-withholdan ka sa kada cut-off mo sa payroll, no? So, subject yan sa year-end adjustment. Kung in-accumulate mo na yung lahat ng naging deduction sa'yo, and at the end of the year, sobra pala yung deduction sa'yo. So, subject ka ngayon to refund. Kailangan ibalik sa'yo yun ni employer. And then, kapag ano naman, under withholding ka or kulang yung na-withheld sa'yo and at the end is may payable ka pa, so in effect, kailangan mong bayaran yun. I-deduct yun sa'yo ni employer at the end of the year. Okay? And also, take note, class ha, ang subject lang sa withholding tax on compensation are those taxable compensation income. Hindi mo pwedeng withholdan yung mga non-taxable. Kasi in effect, at the end of the year, ang sinasubject mo sa progressive tax rates is yung taxable naman. So, dapat align dun yung pag-withhold din natin. Okay? So, all about withholding tax on compensation, ito yung kailangan natin tandaan. So, ang withholding tax on compensation are filed through a BIR form 1601C. C means compensation, na fina-file on or before 10th day of the following month the withholding was made. Okay? Except December, due on 15th. So, kapag January to November na withholding, ifa-file mo yan the following month kung kailan siya winitheld ni employer. So, ifa-file siya ni employer the following month. Kung wari nagsahod ako ngayong November, so yung mga deductions sa withholding sa akin this month, so mag-due yun, kailangan ma-file sa BAR and then mabayaran 10th day which is December 10. Okay? And then, ang exception lang sa due date na to is December. So, kapag December daw ang withholding, so, due yun, 15th pa. Unlike dun sa mga nauna na 10th day lang lagi, the following month. Next, BAR form 1604CF naman, or compensation facts, or so sabi dahil 1604CF is an annual information return na ang due date naman niya ay January 31. And then also related din dito sa compensation withholding tax. So, kapag tapos na yung year, so si employer required siya magbigay ng BIR form 2316 o in effect ITR yan ng isang empleyado na fina-furnish ni employer. So, si employer, kailangan niyang magbigay ng BIR form 2316 to the employee and also masubmit kay BIR due January 31. Okay? So also, under this, penalties may also apply for non-compliance. So kapag nag-withheld ka, and then nakita mali withholding mo, pwedeng magkaroon ng penalty. Okay, so yan. So yung na-discuss natin about penalties, I think chapter 4 applies to this. Okay? Next, should the employee is a mixed earner, so hindi lang compensation sa isang employer yung source of income niya. So should the employee is a mixed earner, so si employee na yon or si taxpayer na yon is required to consolidate or have an consolidated ITR or income tax return na doon nakalagay yung lahat ng mga naging income niya, compensation man, business income, or professional, and then in which yung withholding tax on compensation niya, pwede niya i-claim doon as tax credit. Okay? And then lastly, okay, substituted filing, yung na-mention ko before, so substituted filing renders the employer's filing of the ITR for the employees as sufficient if correctly withheld. So sabi dito, employer files employees income tax return to the BAR, and then if correctly withheld, yung taxes naman, so employee is no longer required or to file an annual ITR by himself through to the bureau or to the BAR. Okay, so I think that's all about compensation income. So yeah, so next lesson natin is chapter 12. So I think yung mga illustration natin na nasa book na nilakdawan, please do read and also kindly answer the problems in our book. So chapter 10, I think we need practice on this. So pasagatan ako ng exercise drill number 1 and then exercise drill number 2, exercise drill number 1, number 2, and then MC problem part 1, part 1 to part 2. Okay? So, lagay ko na lang din sa PPT yung mga required, no? So, wait lang, duplicate natin to. So, please answer. So, yung chapters 8 tsaka chapter 9 natin, please do answer the drills to assess your understanding of the lesson. So, please answer exercise drills 1 and 2. Exercise drill 1 and 2. And then, MC problem. Yung sa MC theory, pabasa na lang din ako. MC problems, part 1 and 2. Pa-answer na lang din ako. Para ma-practice nyo din yung discussion natin. Okay, pero please do read the illustrations first before you proceed with the answering of the exercise drills and the problems. Okay? So I think that's the end of chapter 10 natin. I don't think, hindi ko na sure kung gano'n tayo katagal nag-discuss. Pero that's it, class. I hope we learn. So, thank you very much.